We are in Kanana in Gugulethu at the moment, where Gift of the Givers has arrived on scene to assist this local community here. Lots of the shacks here, in fact most of them, are still waterlogged from yesterday's intense storm that caused havoc across the Western Cape. Earlier we saw a 70-year-old grandmother who lives in a shack where she's ankle deep in water, and she came out to show us that this is the way she's been living, she says, since 1994. And every year it's the same story over and over and over again. Now this community has reached out to Gift of the Givers to give them help, and today they're getting that help from Gift of the Givers. But there are countless other communities just like this right across the province. To give us a sense of the need and the urgency that is out there, we are talking to Ali Sablay of Gift of the Givers now. Ali, thank you very much for joining us as always. First of all, tell us, this morning you told me you're inundated with calls.
That's correct. As we know, the weather over the weekend, and especially yesterday, that intense weather, Gift of the Givers has been inundated with calls from many informal settlements around the Western Cape. As far as Ladysmith, we tried yesterday to go to Ladysmith to assist the communities there. As we know, 60 shacks blew away. People were left with nothing. And that's the same stories we are hearing from many of the informal settlements in the Western Cape. We are here today. We did an assessment yesterday, and we saw the conditions the elderly are especially the gogos, the elderly are facing, where they cannot get out of their current place at the moment because the water was knee-locked and they had no one to assist them. So Gift of the Givers, we are here today to distribute mattresses, blankets. We know many of their stuff, their mask, their hygiene stuff got washed away. So as we know, we mustn't forget we're in the COVID-19 period. Gift of the Givers has brought them mask, soap to sanitize their hands all the time, because the elderly are the most vulnerable to this pandemic. And as well, we brought some for the young moms who lost everything, some nappies, some baby cereal, and many other goodies, just so they can be comfortable and warm during this, as I will say, a devastating period people are experiencing in the Western Cape at the moment.
Ali, we know you guys are busy all the time and you barely get sleep. We know you. We've worked with you many a time. Are you concerned at all at the extent of the level of poverty that has been growing since the start of the pandemic in our country?
You know, Mariska, many people has been saying around wherever of the township we've been visiting, they're not scared of dying of the pandemic, they're scared of dying of hunger. And you saw for yourself, as you go into these people's houses, they have absolutely nothing. And besides, as they said, they are very thankful for the hygiene stuff. They can't even afford a bar of soap. They couldn't afford a proper mask. So the poverty is increasing rapidly. We find many of these people who had jobs before are now left at home. They're in the same situation as their neighbors. So we can see poverty is increasing, and the situation is getting worse out in the township in terms of hunger. We find young children going to bed hungry at night, and there are many other situations, and this is one of 1,000 cases we are dealing with in the Western Cape and in the whole country as such.
How do you go about trying to help? Because I'm sure you cannot say yes to everyone.
You know, Mariska, that's the sad part. You know, you can only be at one place at a time. We are thankful we have many teams around the country, but I'm talking specifically about Western Cape. You can only be one place at one time. We have calls coming in and people telling you stories of worse than the one in the previous call. But where do you start? So we're trying our utmost, and for that we pay credit to our staff as well for being in the front line all the time. Not one of them has backed out to say we're in a pandemic, we can't come to work. They've been there since the start, and we are very thankful that at least we can. What keeps us motivated is to see the smiles and the joys of the recipients. We had many parents telling us when lockdown started, especially the elderly, where they've been told to stay indoors. But do you stay indoors to get hungry and die, or do you take the risk to go out to look for a piece of bread for your family? So that's the kind of situation we are facing at the moment. And Gift of the Givers, we're trying our utmost to assist as much as of these informal settlements as possible, and especially for the elderly, so that they can be indoors. We deliver hampers to their doors. We've done this for the past few weeks, so they can stay indoors and not be another number of fatality in this COVID-19 pandemic.
Just lastly, Ali, what is to be done with people like the gogo we saw earlier, the 70-year-old in her shack full of water? What is to be done about that? Where do we start to help?
What is quite shocking, she says she's staying there since 1994, and she's facing the same situation over and over. And as they're saying, they have reported the cases to the necessary authorities. So how do you sleep at night knowing So how do you sleep at night knowing that this lady since 1994 has been pleading not for a fancy house, but just a structure over her head where she can sleep peacefully at night, and not every morning, as we heard, she has, from this winter time, she suffered arthritis. So I think the necessary authorities have to do their homework properly. They have to come on the ground, come see what's happening with the people around here, and I'm sure once this is highlighted, there are many other gogos who are worse off than this lady we saw now, and the authorities have to see where the priority lies and make sure the elderly and the vulnerable who's dependent on the government to assist them, that they will be taken care of properly.
Thank you very much. That was Ali Sablé of the International Aid Organization Gift of the Givers, telling us or giving us an idea, because they are on the ground every day, of how huge this problem has become. Now, coupled with COVID-19, as Ali has said, is the storm that we saw now, weather adversely affecting people, and also the community leader we spoke to a little bit earlier, saying that conditions like this, the weather we saw over the weekend, will worsen the situation, and that more people will contract and could possibly die from COVID-19 as a result of these conditions. But for today, Gift of the Givers is here in Kanana at NY111 in Gugulethu, trying to assist in any possible way they can to help bring some relief for the people suffering from the destructive force of the storm we saw yesterday.